Welcome to the Bree Pod. I'm here with Melissa from Sarissa Melissa Photography. Hi.
Hey Bree.
Hey. I'm so excited to have you here today. I wanted to share a little bit of how we met. It was actually kind of cool how it worked out because, as you know, Ashley, we have mutual, I guess, a contact or friend from Strut Boutique. And you took those beautiful photos that we actually used for promotion
Yes, thank
of
you.
her. And so I'm really happy that we were able to connect through that. And here you are today on the podcast.
Yes, it was so amazing. I love listening to Ashley's episode, and I appreciate you for inviting me because, I love hearing all things self improvement and ways that we can help with other entrepreneurs that are on the same path.
Yes, and definitely. And as you know, I have a huge love for photography. So this is a super special episode for myself and for those that know me. But tell me, how did you get into photography?
So at a young age, my mom was always making. She was either crafting or sewing, and I always knew I wanted to own my own business one day. So fast forward to college, I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology. I got my bachelor's there in fashion merchandise management, with the whole goal of one day I'm gonna have my own thing. I didn't know what that was gonna be. I dabbled in a couple of things. I worked at a business in New York City. I worked at a place in Kansas doing retail. And then one day I was sick of it all. I was like, I need something that's going to fill my soul. And the whole reason why I went into this creative field is to have something that was mine. So one weekend I went and I bought myself a camera. I found a friend who was a photographer and we did a whole creative shoot one weekend. It was all Lady Gaga inspired. And 4 hours later, I was like, I need to do this. Like, photography is lighting my soul on fire. So when I moved to the Watertown area, I decided I want to do this. I want to give it a name. So I called it Sarissa Melissa Photography. I gave my creativity a place to live. And my friends were like, oh, you're a photographer now? And I was like, mm-hmm, yes, this is the thing I want to do. So I started working at a radio station also, and I was doing their concert photography. And it really helped open me up to having conversations with people, to being able to meet new businesses, to network. So I appreciate the radio station so much for helping me with establishing myself in the community and also helping me throughout the years to grow my photography business. So I had a shared studio with somebody. I had my own studio in a hair salon. And that led me all to this studio, which is in an old Masonic temple in Watertown. The location will literally blow your mind. It is so cool. It's got an old theater in it. It's got the radio station across the hallway. And there's just so many special places to do photos. So that's how everything started for me. And throughout the years, I started to really narrow down my focus. In the beginning, I photographed everything, which I think a lot of photographers can relate. They see the camera, I want to shoot all the things. And over the years, I realized weddings are not my jam. I really love the one-on-one connection with people. So I stopped doing weddings a couple of years ago. Last year, I decided I'm not going to photograph newborns anymore because I do love those squishy babies, but they require a lot of props and wraps and all sorts of things. And I know great newborn photographers here, and I'm like, listen, my girl's got your back. Go over to her. And that is one thing I love doing. I love sharing work with others because I come with an abundance mindset. I don't think I need all the work for myself. There's plenty of people for everybody. And also, we're all different artists. There is only one of us. And I think that's where we get stuck in this comparison trap. We think, oh, I'm not as good as this person. I shoot this way, they shoot that way. I personally love lighting and gels and all sorts of crazy things like that. Some photographers do natural light and their work is stunning. We're all just different artists. And I think being able to come to terms with that throughout the years has been very freeing, and also very helpful in myself becoming a better photographer and artist for the area and just for the work that I'm creating.
And I really love that you say that because being in the industry of photography, it is sad that there is that competition feeling sometimes. Um, but I've also learned with you that you got to shift that mindset because if you think of it from the even from the clientele's perspective, why can't they have different art from different people? Why does it have to be
Hmm.
that you're their sole photographer? Or like why can't you work together in collaborating? So I really do appreciate that you brought that up because that is, I feel like, an unspoken thing that needs to be addressed. That there's so many people and there's so much work out there. It's not just like it doesn't have to be competitive. So I'm glad you said
Absolutely.
that. And I love your work. And I love that you have that mindset because I think that that is what helps a business be successful is that if everybody can come to the table and sit at that table, regardless
Mhm.
if they are in the same field, then that is what's going to push you forward. So,
Absolutely. And it's also too, like I've been a part of different photography groups, one for Northern New York, one for Central New York. And there's just a group of photographers that come together and we all collaborate because we all have the same problems. Like we're entrepreneurs, we're doing a thing that we love so much that we're so passionate about, but also the struggle is real and we can really help each other. You build that network of people. I know certain wedding photographers, and I'm like, you know what? I don't do weddings. I get wedding inquiries. I send them to this person. And it feels so good. It just fills my soul. And I think when you think with an abundance mindset and say there's enough for everybody, then you get even more in return. It's like the universe is like, you're doing a good thing. I'm going to give you a little bit extra because you're doing that good thing. And it feels really good. I mean, I even get clients that will come in and say, oh, I want XYZ, and we realize, hey, we're not a good fit. I personally love products. I love prints. I love folio boxes. But if they want like strictly a small digital package, maybe somebody else I can connect them with. And I think it's all about just knowing your community, knowing your fellow photographers, and being open to sharing because there is more than enough.
yes, I agree with that. I love that. And with photography, like, what are the misconceptions or maybe even mistakes you have seen in with that passion?
I think common misconceptions are that it's really easy. I know we were talking about this
Yeah.
before we hopped on here, and people think like photography is just like you have a camera, it's a nice camera, the nice camera takes the photos. But, like I was mentioning earlier, I had a client session this past weekend, and she just wanted to do a session because she wanted to lift up her spirits. She wanted to feel beautiful. Winter was getting her down. So I had her in here, I helped style her, I helped move her shoulder, move her chin, and she looked so fierce in the photos. And photography is about that. You need to know your posing, you need to get that down so you can help guide clients. People aren't naturally photogenic, so you want to be able to help them out. You want to also understand light and what kind of light you love. Some photographers love natural light, but that is a talent. People think natural light is easy. No, it's not, because I see some natural light photographers that do stuff with sunsets that I mean, that's a lot of work that goes into it. And it's so stunning. And then some photographers that use a studio lighting, they have to be creative and know ratios and all sorts of things. So I think just common misconceptions is that it's easy because it definitely takes a lot of work and education and research and classes. And also that there's value, there's no value in digitals, where sometimes we think our client just wants like all the digitals for like this low fee. But when we take a step back and we look how much time we're putting into that photo session, to have the consultation with the client, to plan gas to get there, our equipment, our time away from our family, I think after having my son, that's when my mindset shifted. It was like, I need to work smarter because if I'm going to be away from this cute boy, I need to make it worth it. So I think for beginner photographers, making sure that you're pricing yourself for profit, and really having that conversation with clients. Does this client really want digital? And I have a whole, like, when I think of digitals, I think, I scream inside my head because we live in such a digital age that I think about, are we going to exist in photographs? Everything lives on Instagram, everything lives on Facebook. But are we printing the photos? Are we having like photos of our kids' birthday parties, of them growing up? And that was one reason why I really geared my business now towards print, because I see the value in that. I see the value in, I have a photo of my son. He's laughing. He's 1 year old. I see a photo of this beautiful woman, this maternity session I did a couple of weeks ago. She's in this long pink robe and she's got flowing hair. And when we had her photo reveal, I said to her, imagine your daughter who's in your belly holding this photo when she's a grown woman. And you should have seen the goosebumps in her arm. And she told me, I really wanted your photo box. I feel like I just manifested that. And that to me is goals. So if there is definitely lots of advice I can give photographers, but I think really taking a step back from your business, looking at what you want to create, what kind of experience do you want to give to your clients, and understanding that you need to value and charge your worth, because it is worth it. It's so worth it. Those memories are forever. And if you think about it, when a loved one passes, we don't go and hold a thumb drive. We don't
Yeah.
go and hold a computer. We hold a photo. That photo is priceless. And that's why what we do is so important as image creators. It's something that is going to outlive us eventually.
I love that. Because it's so true. Like you do, especially when you make those memory boards for the funerals and everything, you're using the physical prints. So that's so true.
Absolutely.
Um, and when tell us a little bit about your photo box. What does that, I guess, come with? What is your photo
Oh,
box?
oh my gosh, my photo box is life right now. So basically, when a client comes in for a session, we have our consultation, we have a styling session, and then after their photo shoot, they come in for the reveal and they'll actually see a few of their photos printed. And they're printed in these 11 by 14 mats. The photo itself is an 8 by 12. I love like the matte finish of prints, so I usually go for that inside. And then the box is where these photos will live. So it's kind of like a display box. It has a beautiful window. It's got a magnetic panel on the inside where they can switch it out. But it's just a great place for people to have all their photos in one spot. If they choose to put it in a frame, they can do that. But it's a beautiful just piece of art that they can have to hold their photos, to keep them, to pass it down as a family heirloom. I think like I have some old photos of my grandma that were like framed and matted, and they're such a beautiful quality. And these here, they come from Ireland and they have little gloves so you can like touch them with. Like they're
Oh,
crazy cool. And the whole experience of giving this to the client really is an experience for them to be able to receive something that's so special, different, and beautiful, but also to have this box to display the photos and then to also just keep everything archived. So if they book a maternity session with me, then they have a few of those in the box, a family session, a few more of those, another session where mama wants to feel fabulous. We have some of mama's photos in there. And then they have like their whole family story in photos inside this beautiful photo box. It's kind of like the twist on the album. It's kind of like a loose leaf album, but it is just the coolest thing to be able to see and hold in person and to have on display as something that you can't just get anywhere.
yeah, I love that you have that unique, not only the eye for photography, but a unique way of giving them this piece of art or display. Like there's so much thought that was obviously put into that. Um, which again goes back to how it's not easy. Like you put all of that heart and soul into this beautiful box. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what this
Mm.
looks like.
Yes. This year I'll have a little video. It's what I'm working on, to show like what this box looks like, and a client unboxing hers, which is happening tomorrow. And I have goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh, and I'm sure for you too to see because that's your work, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes like even when I was seeing people have theirs printed and stuff, it's different when you see it in person. You're like, oh my gosh, I did that. So like how does
Yes.
that feel when you watch them open this beautiful box that you've created with all of your art and work for them?
Oh, it feels so emotional. Like sometimes I just want to either like jump out of my seat or like bawl because some of my clients don't realize when they come in for the photo reveal, they see all their photos on the TV screen. But then I have a few of them that are printed and I flip it over and they see it. And like the expression on their face is just like their jaw hits the floor. They're holding it, they're hugging it. And to be able to give people that, to show people like, this is you. Like, you're gorgeous. Like, this is you with your family. This is your child's beautiful smile. This is documented and this is archived so you can take home and you can have this forever. And that feeling to me means the world. I want to, with my photography, give people an experience and then have them have something special. So when they look at that photo, they not only remember their family looking like that amazing at that time in life, but they're also thinking, that photographer made me feel like $1 million. And I really appreciate that experience and I appreciate this photo. And those are the two things I always want to focus on when I'm doing photos for a client is that experience and making sure they feel like, man, like on top of the world. But then they also have these photos that say, that's my family. That's me. For women, it's damn, I feel good. I look good in that photo, and for the families, they're just like, oh my gosh, that's my child. Like, look at my son. Like, he's so grown. He's so cute. That's his silly laugh. It really is an incredible, incredible thing to do.
Oh, I think that's such an amazing experience. And that one day I'm gonna have to partake in. You're gonna have to
Yes.
help you
Oh, I
do
would
my
love to give
photos.
you. Yes. Oh, I would love to give you that experience. It's magical. It's one thing talking about it. I had my hairstylist and makeup artist. She recently booked a session with me, and she's like, it's so different being on the other side. I'm so used to helping you do it for other women, and now I've experienced it, and now I get it. I get it why people come in for this. They want to feel pampered. They want to feel, hey, I'm a woman, but I'm also beautiful and I'm confident. And Melissa helped me style me in some amazing clothes. So I just want to feel amazing and not have to worry about anything else. And it was just really cool to give her that kind of experience.
Oh, that's that's so amazing. And that really is all what I love about um photography and with what you're doing is it's self-empowerment for them. It's self-confidence. It's sometimes it's that thing that you need to bring that
Mhm.
back and say, you know what, I am a beautiful woman. I am, I made this beautiful child. So that's such a beautiful thing. Um,
Absolutely.
and I wanted to ask you, a lot of people, they don't like their photos taken or they don't they're not so much interested in photography, but what advice would you give someone that like because photography is really bigger than just the term photography, but like what would you
Mhm.
say to people with getting photos? Like,
With getting photos, I say, research. You want to definitely have that connection to the person. So you're going to want to look at the photos as a whole to get an idea. If it's a natural light photographer, I really like the feel of her work. I like the tones. Maybe another photographer, you like their drama in the photos. So maybe looking at their style first. And then secondly, if they have a platform like Instagram or Facebook, checking them out on there, checking out their videos, it's really easy to see like a person's style in the photos. But when you start watching like their videos and their goofiness, maybe their dancing reel, like you really get to know their personality. If you start listening to their stories, you get to know like this is what they're speaking. This is what they're. Oh, I want that. Like, wait a second. I want to feel that empowerment. Maybe it's another photographer who specializes in headshots, and he's like very like professional and very serious. And you're like, ooh, like I want that for my LinkedIn. So you definitely want to like look up a photographer's style, start looking at them on social media and seeing like their tone and like their videos, and then just having a conversation, giving them a call and saying like, hey, I'd like some more information. You can really understand a photographer if you get them on the phone and talk to them, and then really understand like, am I connecting with them? Are they speaking my language? Can they bring to me what I'm looking for? I had a gentleman in the last weekend and he was very nervous. And he came in here and oh, I'm so nervous the whole time. And I just had him sit down, and, I'm fixing my light and everything. And then I took a couple photos of him and then I put the camera down because for me, it's never about the equipment, it's about my client. I took the camera down. I showed him the back of the camera and he gasped. And, oh man, that's me. He's like, okay, I feel confident now. So, for anyone who's looking for a photographer, I just say, find someone that you're going to connect with. It's a very personal thing to get a photograph done. And it's okay if you're not like used to it or you feel nervous, because plenty of people feel nervous. I feel nervous when I go into my photo shoots, and I do this. So just, take your time, get to know them, and, talk to a couple of photographers if you're looking for someone. And then that's how you can really like find someone who will totally fit with your vibe.
Definitely. And I think most, at least from what I've seen, most photographers, sorry, bleh. Most photographers have consultations, which is super nice to have so that you can feel their vibes. Um, and I think it is very important to make sure that you are vibing with them, because if you're already going in kind of nervous, you do want to be able to have someone that can help you kind of let your guard down a little bit and be like, hey, let's just shake it out a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to find someone who's like, oh, like they like Harry Potter, and yeah, I like Harry Potter too. Like you're speaking my language, and you also take these really cool photos.
And what I love too about you in particular is that you actually share the behind the scenes, I have noticed, of your work and before you're about to shoot, which is cool.
Yes, that is a big part of what I do, because like the photos and everything, I love sharing that, but like I want to be like realistic with people. Like right now my studio is messy, like there's fabrics everywhere, there's lots of stuff that goes into photo shoots. Sometimes I use a piece of fabric to make a client a dress, but that's the real life that goes into it. And I think that really resonates with clients. For photographers that show behind the scenes, it really helps the client to understand what's going to go into this process. What can I expect if I book this photographer? Oh, I can expect like Melissa will probably be like singing some Missy Elliott when I arrive, and the studio will be full of like fabrics and like some sparkling water and chocolate. Like that's what they're gonna get.
That's a good touch with the chocolate.
Yes.
You're
As long
speaking
as I
my
don't
language.
eat it.
Oh, I love that. Um, so where can they find you on the platforms?
So I am on Facebook, not as often as I am on Instagram. I love Instagram. It is my jam. I love dancing reels, to show behind the scenes. I love sharing my stuff in stories. So stories is a really great way for me to connect with my audience. So it's Sarissa Melissa Photography on Instagram, Facebook, and on my website. You can definitely check out there. But if you want to learn more and see the fun, the goofiness, the dance parties in the studio, on Instagram is the best way to find me.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you being able to come on here with me and to share your love and passion, because it's not just a career, it is a passion and love. So I'm so thankful to have you on the Bree Pod with me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on, and letting me talk about this. It really is a passion. I love photography when I first started it. And over the years, I feel like it's like this romantic relationship that I just fall more in love with every day. And I learn more things about, and being able to give an experience to people has evolved over the years. And I appreciate you for having me on and letting me share it out loud, because I don't get to do it as often as I like. Just speaking it out loud, and I appreciate you, because this is awesome. It just gave me a whole new like woohoo, like I'm getting after it today.
Yes, that's awesome. Oh, well, I'm excited about that. And I definitely will be when I get back to New York, scheduling something with you for a session. That'd be fun.
Yes, I'm excited, and then we'll totally share your behind the scenes fun.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll share it on the Brie Pod too. We might as well.
Yes, that's awesome.
Okay, so for those of you that are new or just coming in, at this time we do our affirmations. So I'll have you pick a number between 1 and 3, um, and you pick that number that resonates. So for those of you that resonate with number 1, your affirmation is, I put my energy into things that matter to me. For those of you that resonate with number 2, your affirmation is, I'm becoming closer to my true self every day. And for those of you who resonate with number 3, your affirmation is, I am grateful to have people in my life who fill in the blank here. With that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time on the Brie Pod. Bye.
Bye.